What's up, YouTube? It's Chris here, coming at you guys today with my Agent deck profile for July 2018. That's right, still playing Agents in 2018. Yeah, so I've loved Agents since like they came out. I had a buddy who was playing them, and I just always loved the deck. I think like Agents, how they work is like pretty much how what I look for in an archetype when it comes out is basically I model off like how Agents work. So one of my favorite decks. So without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. You play 3 Earth. Earth is the searcher of the deck. Earth, in my opinion, has the best artwork of the deck. She looks beautiful, gorgeous. I love this card so much. It's one of my favorite cards. Earth, when it has Sanctuary in the Sky on the field, lets you search Master Hyperion, but without that, you can just search any agent you want from the deck to the hand. Konami, please give us more agent support. We want it. Next up, you play 3 Venus. There used to be builds back in the day where people played 2 Venus because they, once they saw her the first time, they didn't want to see her again. It's not really a problem. You want to see this card. Venus is great. A lot of people, you're going to be asking yourself, well, what can agents do with links? Because anyone who's visited the channel knows we hate links, so that's not what I do with her. I just do the old school plays because links are degenerate and retarded. Anyway, so Venus is your pretty much play starter that you need with the Shine Balls, and we'll go into some more of the combos later. Next, 3 Shine Balls. Back in the day, people only used to play 2. You want to play 3. You want to get as much advantage that you can off of the Venus that you play. Next, I play 3 Uranus. Uranus is an underrated card. Not only is the fact that he's a Dark Tuner work to your advantage, the fact that he is a level 5 is also a good thing. I know some people think it's a bad thing because you need Sanctuary, but in this deck it's actually a good thing. I really like this card. I think it's underrated. Now, with that being said, I think Konami could have done a better job with adding more support to agents, which they need to, because this is the last agent support card, and that was from like 2014, so Konami, once again, we need more support. So what he does is he lets you dump an agent from your deck to the graveyard on whatever that level of the agent was. He becomes that level for the turn. A lot of times what I do with this card is I just dump another version, like another copy of himself, because you're allowed to do that. Just kind of fuels your Master Hyperion plays, stuff like that. We are playing 3 Master Hyperion. People have tried to take this card out of the build. It's not really an agent deck without Master Hyperion. A Master Hyperion is kind of your... He's the ideal boss monster. In my opinion, what a boss monster should be, that's what Master Hyperion is. He's balanced. He's not too ridiculous. He lets you banish an agent to pop a card on the field. If you control Sanctuary in the Sky, you get to pop 2 cards if you banish Light Fairies. He needs an agent to be summoned, but you just banish Light Fairies to pop stuff. I love this card so much, but I think he's a must-have at 3. You want to see this card. Next, I play Triple Hecatrice. I used to only play like 1 copy of this card because I wasn't wanting to see this all the time, but nowadays, in order to win, you kind of just want to see Valhalla in your hand as quickly as possible because of the next card I'm about to show you. Triple Archlord Christia. You want to see this card in your hand, you want to see Valhalla in your hand, and that's pretty much going to be a lot of times your win condition. Christia is a great card. To tell you the truth, even with this build, if you draw more than 1 Christia, it's not the end of the world because we have things we can do with it, such as the next card, 2 Herald of Orange Light. I've gone back and forth with this card. There used to be a time where I didn't run any copies of this card, but Orange Light is great, especially with this build, but he's the only card really of his kind that is a hand trap that negates and destroys. Yes, you need to discard another Light Fairy to do so, but that's all this deck is, so it works out to your advantage. Getting rid of cards out of your hand and feeding your Master Hyperion, your Archlord Christia to be able to summon that, it's very good. So Orange Light is great. I don't have the ultis yet. Those cards are like hella expensive, so I don't know when that's going to happen. But next for the one-ofs, 1 Gem Knight Lazuli. You do play Lazuli and not Garnet because Lazuli could add back a Shine Ball. That's why you play her. I do only play 1 Gem Knight because you don't really want to draw your Gem Knights. Next, I play 1 Eva. I put this card in recently. This card is actually really great with the amount of cards that you can just dump from your hand. And then if you play, like, let's say Brilliant Fusion, you could just dump her and get an effect off it to search. This lets you search level 2 or lower light fairy monsters from your deck. You just have to banish some other light fairies whenever this card hits the graveyard. So that's not too hard in this deck. It's just when you play it, but your level 2 light fairies that you're going to be adding is pretty much always Agent of Earth and Agent of Mystery Earth, and then Orange Light. One Honest. You could always play more copies of Honest if you could find the room. I just couldn't really find the room, but Honest is a great card. If you can play more, go for it. One Gen X Ally Birdman. This is for your Venus and Shine Ball combos. You summon Venus, you summon out the Shine Balls, you return a Shine Ball back, summon Birdman, and then summon out the Shine Ball that you just returned. So Birdman's great. The fact that he's a dark is great because you can go into things like Beals and other things. But yeah, one Birdman because he's at one. Newest card, One Goddess of Sweet Revenge. This card I pulled off against somebody recently. This card's pretty good if you can get it. That's why it works with the orange lights, because you can dump cards out of your hand pretty quick, and then the next thing you know, this is the only card you got, and then you blow up your opponent's whole board, and then special summon pretty much any monster you want for your deck. I always go for Christia, because that'll just lock your opponent out, but yeah, this card, I think you have to try it at one, just for the chance, because if you can get it off, the risk is definitely worth the reward if you can get it. One Herald of Heaven, just got the ulti in. Damn, that looks nice. You just play one copy of it. I had to like trim it down a little bit. I was running two, but I think one's fine. That way, if you draw this and you already have Sanctuary, well, you can summon it. Or if this card's dead, you can just use it as orange light fodder or whatever. But he is a 2100 beat stick, so if you do have Sanctuary, he's not the worst thing in the world in normal summon. One Tethys, Goddess of Light. I will show why I'm playing this card later on when I show what else I'm playing in here. But this card I didn't have in here till recently. But if you can Valhalla this out and do some other things, this card can be ridiculous. One Athena. Athena, because we are playing Valhalla, Athena can be great because of how many fairies you summon in a turn. Because it's not just special summon, it's any summons that you're doing of fairies. So Athena can burn, I think I've got it up to 4,000 burn damage in my opening turn with this card. So Athena is really great. One of the Light Elemental Lord. This card is a Regeki. When it hits the field, you just have to have exactly 5 Light Monsters, which is not hard to do in this deck. And you have such good graveyard management in this deck that that's really easy. He's just a one-of, but, I mean, I like this card, and it's a Light Fairy, so that helps if it is in the graveyard. It's more fodder for stuff. Now for the spells. 3 Sekka's Light. Most people in the competitive meta right now are finally understanding how good this card is, but if you don't play a whole lot of spells, then Sekka's Light is amazing. Agents is a deck that doesn't need a whole lot of spell cards, but Sekka's Light helps. The card I was going to show you was... So Tethys, Goddess of Light, if you can Valhalla this card out and summon Tethys and then play Sekka's Light, if you draw a fairy, you get to draw again, and if you draw a fairy, you get to draw again, and again, and again, and again. And with agents, if you can get that many cards in your hand, yeah, you're probably going to win. I mean, any deck, if they get that many cards in their hand, they're probably going to win. So I've seen a lot of people, they question, you know, like, well, they know I play Valhalla, I play Sanctuary in the Sky, I play Brilliant Fusion, and they, you know, I'll just show these cards now. 3 Brilliant Fusion, 1 Sanctuary, 1 Valhalla. So the thing is, none of these cards actually hit the graveyard on their own. So Sekka's Light, all you got to worry about is if a spell card hits your graveyard. And after you play it, then you can no longer play any different spell cards. But if you open up one of these and then a Sekka's Light, just play this card first and you're fine. So we have 3 different cards to search this. I'm playing basically 2 copies of this because you play the one searcher for it. And then the Brilliant Fusion. If you open Brilliant Fusion Agents, you're probably going to win. Remember, I don't play... This isn't a Link build. This is pretty much for Master Rule 3. Now, you could play this for Links and probably link away everything and you'll be fine. I just hate Links as a mechanic, so I don't do it. But this all works great. Brilliant Fusion has always been a staple in Agents, so you got to play that. These work great. And then the Sekka's Light, I really love it. I haven't had a problem with it because another amazing thing is obviously if you draw your Shine Ball, you can just shuffle it back in and then draw another card, which there's plenty of bricks that you can get in this deck if you draw your Gem Knight, stuff like that. So that's it for the main deck. And then the extra deck, 1 Seraphonite, you got to have it for Brilliant Fusion. Remember that it is a fairy, so there are some combos you can do with this card. 1 FA Dawn Dragster. This card, because of how easy it is to go into level 7 synchros in this deck, the fact that this card can negate spells and traps, pretty good. 1 Black Rose Dragon. So this is mainly for, I mean, obviously Black Rose is Black Rose. It's great if you can blow up the board, but I really had to add this in because of the fact of that Goddess of Sweet Revenge card. There are times where like a Brilliant Fusion is staying on the field, or your Sanctuary in the Sky, or your Valhalla, and you have to have no cards. You have to control no cards for that Goddess to work. So Black Rose can blow up the board, which can help you get that card off. 1 Moonlight Dragon. Moonlight's a great staple for level 7 synchros. I mean, can bounce stuff. It's a good defensive option. 1 Clearwing. The reason he's really in here, obviously he's an okay card, but the reason he's in here is because he's a wind. for something else that you play in the extra deck. You can let him attack twice. One Michael. Michael's always been a staple for me in Agents. He just takes a non-tuner light, so a lot of times if you have Uranus and then you have a Shine Ball or something like that, that's a Michael. Michael's a pretty good card. One Beals. Beals you can go into off of Uranus or the Gen X Ally Birdman. That's really easy to do. One Mistworm. Mistworm is along with the Trish or your 9-star options. If your opponent has more cards on the field and they don't have anything in their hand or there's nothing in the graveyard you care about, you can just always go into Mistworm. So that's great. Trish is Trish. It's always been a staple in Agents. One Herald of Pure Light. So Pure Light is part of a combo that I can show you guys. Most people know it, but I can show the combo anyway. Well, it's kind of elaborate. With Pure Light, you can basically, if you dumped Brilliant Fusion and you go into your whole combo, you can dump a Christia in your graveyard, and then with Pure Light, you can get it back, and you'll pretty much always have 4 fairies to summon the Christia. So it's a cool thing. One Daigusto Phoenix. Daigusto Phoenix, because you're playing some other winds, and Daigusto Phoenix himself is a wind, he can put the most damage on board. That's why you play him. He's a staple. One Phantomite of Cursed Javelin. This card is like a Starleech Paladynamo, except for rank 2 version. And he only costs 1 material to do that, but Cursed Javelin, he's a great card. I think he's honestly become like probably the best rank 2 right now. And then for my rank 5s, this guy who just came out, Paradise Smasher, you're able to summon 5s pretty easily with Valhalla, with Seraphonite being a 5, with Uranus, if you can get those out. So if you can go into this guy, there's a chance you could lock out your opponent from playing any monster effects or attacking for the whole turn. And if you get 3 level 5 monsters, you can pretty much ensure that that's going to happen with his effect. So he's a cool card, and he's a light fairy. That's why I like him. If they're light fairies, if they go to the graveyard, it just fuels Hyperion and some other things. So one Artifact Durendal. Durendal can pretty much, like, if you don't like your hand, you can just shuffle it and like get new cards. That's pretty much why I like him, and he's a light fairy. And one Tears Keeper of Genesis. It's a light fairy, and he has some protection, so I like that as well. That is it for the deck profile. I really wish Konami would come out with more Agent support. I've said it now. This is the 3rd time I've said it. Agents is a deck that a lot of people love. It has a loyal fan base, and Konami, please don't just like throw us a Link Monster and call that support. Please just give us more like main deck cards, like you're doing Cyber Dragons. That's great. Anyway, that's it for the deck profile. This is Chris signing out.